Some quick notes on the game that just finished. Braves have now won 11 consecutive games. The record is now 24-8. They were 3-0 against the Panthers this season, and now every game this tournament so far has been won by a team who swept the other 3 games this year. Rink Mass now has a double-figure mark in points in 25 of his 26 games. And Malavai Leons became the first player in NBC history to record 50 steals and 50 blocks in a season.
That's a career high for Rink.
Yes, Rink's 30 points is the career high. It's the first time in the history of this tournament that a game had 2 30-point scores. And Bourne's 34 is the highest in this tournament since Lindrick Rogers of Drake. That goes back a while, and I don't have the year. But Lindrick Rogers had 38 points in the opening round versus Wichita State. I'll try to get that for you later. Thank you. The regular season Missouri Valley Conference champion Bradley Braves are with us. The Coach of the Year, Brian Wardle, is also with us. He's in the middle. Malavai Leons and Rink Mass represent the student body. We're going to ask Brian to make a statement on the game that just finished, then we'll go to questions for all 3 of the Braves. Brian, please.
Well, buckle up, because I think you're going to see 3 more games like that today. Our league's really good this year. Northern Iowa was in first place, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they're the 8th seed. And I knew going in this game, this is the best 8th seed I've ever played as a head coach. And it's a scary game because they have guys like Bourne that can make tough shots all over the floor, and they got good shooting all over the floor. So we knew we were going to be in for a war. We knew this was going to be a close game. Anytime you're playing a team a third time, it's always challenging. Jake's a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. It always has his team prepared. It's a very talented team. Young team, but you're going to probably see them at the top of the valley here in the coming years for sure. So we knew it was going to be one of these games. I was proud of our composure, execution down the stretch. I thought out of timeouts we got some good looks, and we just had to put bodies and length all over Bourne and just hope he missed. It was one of those games for him. He got going in the second half, which I was worried about, and we let him get going and start the second half, and then he was lights out the rest of the way. So it was a great battle, great game to start the day. And very proud of our guys to stay resilient and confident throughout.
Stay right here. We've got a mic coming to you. Hold on a second.
Coach, how much of a weapon and a cushion does it give you to have Rink Mass in there that took that game over in the first half, certainly?
Oh, he was great. He was tremendous. Obviously, I don't like playing him that many minutes in the first game of a tournament, but I mean, we were feeding the hot hand. He was popping on their drop coverage, so he read that right away, and he started hitting his threes, and then we caught him on some dives, and we got him in the post. I mean, he showed his versatility today. He's got a chip on his shoulder right here. I mean, he'd probably say it in a minute. And I thought he was tremendous. He carried us in the first half because we missed a lot of free throws, missed a lot of bunnies at the rim in the first half. I liked how we played in the first half. We just didn't shoot it very well, I thought. And then the second half, our defense broke down to start the half. We weren't we didn't execute very well defensively to start the first 8 minutes, let them get going, and then the rest of the way it was a dogfight. So proud of Rink, obviously. Had a great game. Malavai here was in foul trouble. Jahan was in foul trouble, so we were battling foul trouble the whole game. So guys had to step up, and Rink definitely did that for us.
Rink, what is the chip on the shoulder all about?
I mean, obviously not winning player of the year. Like before those awards were announced, I looked it up, and it was like the first in well over a decade that the best player on the winning team from the regular season didn't win it. So, yeah, that's my chip right now. And I would say I don't really care about individual awards because you got to win it as a team to get individual awards. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and win this thing as a team.
Right here.
Coach, you mentioned Bourne getting hot there in the second half. What's the message to your team in a situation like that as you're trying to obviously keep the lead, but also keep them from continuing to battle back? What's the message like, and what's the response that you're expecting from your players in that situation?
Oh, you got to be where your feet are, and it's one possession at a time. And we tried denying Bourne. He's really hard to deny because he cuts so well and he's so shifty and quick. Then we were trying to hard show and really make him give the ball up in ball screens pretty much the last 12 minutes. And so we were flying around trying to do our best on him. But like I said, he's a really good scorer. And when he gets it going, it doesn't matter, really. But one possession at a time. You're not going to win this, at that 10-minute mark. This game was coming down to the wire. We knew that. I was holding on to my timeouts because I knew this was probably going to come down to the wire. And it was going to come down to execution, really. Which team can get the shot they want, and then obviously we needed to make some free throws, and Jay Hen came through making some free throws down the stretch for us, which was huge.
Coach, coming down the stretch, Deshaun and Malavai both had 4 fouls. Kept them both in the game. Just kind of talk about management on the personnel in the second half, and then just their play, just to stay in that ball game and play some smart D.
We just trusted our rotations that we've had throughout the year that won us a lot of games, and trusted Darius Hannah to play a lot of minutes, and Vile, I thought, did a pretty good job on Bourne for a while. But we had to trust our players in that situation. And Zeke was in foul trouble too. He never got going at all because he picked up 2 really quick. So you just got to manage it. Offensively, you got to make sure you're executing things that that group of 5 can run and execute. So we had some groups of 5 we haven't played much with in that game, but they did a great job of execution, and we'll be able to learn a lot off this film. And I think whoever we play tomorrow, we're going to be able to see some things that we made mistakes, and you got to play smart this time of year. I say it all the time, and we made some mental mistakes at times, and UNI punished us.
You have 2 more on the right-hand side. Go, please.
This is a question for Malavai and Coach. Down the stretch, when Bourne was really getting going, you guarded Malavai, and what was the game plan there? And the switching, but it kind of looked like you took over the man-to-man matchup. Was that a matchup that you were inviting, and what was the game plan there?
Malavai first, then Brian.
You just want to give him like a different look, like throwing different bodies at him. And I'm obviously taller than my teammates, so trying to put some length on him and make him think about it before he attacks and comes down the floor.
It's a matchup I wanted to get to, and I just couldn't with the foul trouble. It was one that I wanted to get to in the second half. I didn't want to put him on him in the first half just because you pick up fouls. Bourne's very good at drawing fouls. Very good. I mean, he draws a lot of fouls every game. And didn't want to get him in foul trouble, but he got him foul trouble anyway. Thanks, Mally. But it was a matchup I wanted to go to in the second half for sure. We couldn't get to it really till the last 3 minutes or 2 where we felt, oh, well, now, I mean, if he fouls out, he fouls out. I mean, but the length, you got to mix it up on him. Really good scorers, you got to mix it up. I always say that. If you give them one look the whole game, they're going to feel it out and have figured ways to get their shot off and get comfortable and get rhythm. And, Mally, I thought, contested some tough shots at the end of the game.
Got 1 in the back, and then back to Dave. Go.
Brian, is there some solace to the fact that Borden did have to take 29 shots to get the points that he got to? I mean, is there some ways in which you were able to, he's taking that many shots that you're defending well that he has to take a many?
Yeah, I mean, that kid's a competitor, and I'll tell you, 2 guys had to play him a lot. And so even if he takes tough shots, they got an offensive rebound opportunities, if that makes sense. So he's still creating opportunities for his teammates, even by forcing it and being aggressive like that. Now, obviously, I don't know what they were trying to run or what they were doing, but I would have rode that hand too, and seen if he can carry you through. But we kind of did that with Rink and Jay Hen down the stretch. We wanted to get the ball inside and pound that ball inside. But it was overall just a really good college basketball game. Very proud of this group. First game's always the hardest in this tournament, always. And now you kind of just roll the dice and the kind of a lot of the pressure's off, and you go hoop in the Final Four. And that's what you got to do in the semis.
We're down to 4 minutes. Next question's here.
Malavai, I think you need to talk about reaching 50-50. When we were talking about it back in Peoria, you had a reason why you wanted to do it this year.
There's many great players in this league, and it's really cool to be able to write some history and I wanted to get it this year, obviously, because next year I want to get it again. I don't want to wait till next year to get it.
Exactly. And then the block that you had on Bowen at the rim, real late in the game there, I thought was huge. Did you sense that it was turning your way after that?
I knew he was going to go to the basket, and just trying to get it, and was maybe close to a goaltend, but happy didn't call it and got it.
On the end, thank you.
This one's for Rink. Rink, you're 21 points away from 1,000 career points. Your teammate Henry already accomplished that this year. Is that something that you care about down the stretch? I know you already touched on the individual award.
I do. I would like him to get it.
Obviously, I knew before the game how far away I'm from it, so it would definitely be cool to get it. Yeah.
Anything else for the Braves? Yes, in the back. Final question.
For both players or either player, after you win a game like that, now that it's in the books, can that kind of game actually be really beneficial in this tournament now moving forward, that you've gotten the win and you played a game like that?
Rink first and then Malavai.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a very big arena. It's bright lights, so you gotta get adjusted to it a little bit. Obviously, you and I had that yesterday. We had that today. So we know how it is right now, so we can go all out tomorrow.
Couldn't say it any better. It's nice to have that one out of the way and now move on to the next one and got a feel for the arena and know how it feels.
All right, gentlemen, thank you
Thank you.
very much. Bradley will play at 2:30 tomorrow in the semifinals. Good job. Good job. UNI Panthers are with us. Titan Anderson, Bowen Bourne represent the student body. Head coach Ben Jacobson is also with us. And we're going to ask Ben to make a statement on the game, and then we will go to questions for all three of the Panthers here on the dais. Ben, please.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, it ended up being just a heck of a game. Too many offensive rebounds in the first half, but Bradley had 7 of them in the first half. I'm just looking at it here for the first time, and we were able to cut that down to 3 in the second half. That was important, of course, for us to be able to get it tied, get the lead. And then Mast had a terrific game in the first half. And he's making threes. Made the 17-footer. He's going to score around the basket. He had a big first half, and that was an important part of the game. But I just love the these two guys and this team. What we saw today was a lot of what our season was like. We had to fight really hard in November and December to get better and figure out a way to make some important plays, some game-winning plays, and led by these two guys, we did, and had a heck of a January, and came down here. We didn't play as good in February, but man, we played really good yesterday, and we played really good today, and I just love how hard these guys play, and so I'll leave it there. And
Start right here. Yep, 2 questions right here.
Coach, I'll start with you. 34 points for Bowen, 29 attempts. What needed to happen for someone else on this team to get going the way he did and contribute a little bit more?
I don't know. We've the guys have done such a great job. And I talked about it once. I think it was, I don't know if it was after a day after a game, or if it was after one of our practices. Just talking with you guys in the locker room, in the film room that day, and I said, we got our 2 superstars are the best superstars you could ever have in your locker room, and that's these 2 guys, right? And our other 2, Nate and Fife, were not able to play this year. Fife's medical challenges and Nate's finger, but the 2 that were playing, these 2 guys right here, I told the team, we got the best two superstars that you could ever want in your locker room. And that maybe goes to your question a little bit in that, Titan isn't out there tonight trying to figure out, okay, well, when am I going to get the ball and get to shoot? When Bo's getting doubled and he doesn't get as many shots, in a particular game or during a stretch when they really put 2 on him, he isn't thinking about, well, when do I get to shoot? Okay, these guys, all Titan's thinking about today is battling his ass off and winning. Right? And on nights when Bo takes 9, 10, 11 shots and they're doubling him a bunch, all Bo's thinking about is winning. Right? And that's we were in great position. We needed 2 more plays, 1 less play from Bradley and 2 more from us when it was tied, 2.5, 3 minutes to go, and you would have seen us 25, 30 minutes ago, right? I mean, it was that close. So these guys just play to win, and if that means Bowen shoots more in a particular game or Titan, the games where he's taking more attempts, and that's one of the best parts about these 2 guys here. Right?
Bowen, for you were matched up against Malevi a lot. Defensive Player of the Year, has about 7 inches of height on you. How did you figure out a way to still play your game going up against a guy like that?
Yeah, for me it was just trying to stay aggressive for whoever they put on me. I was trying to be aggressive and make some plays happen, and yeah, had some stretches in there where I kind of got it going and was feeling pretty good and feeling confident. And so, regardless of whoever they put on you, that's something that, your confidence should never waver. And so, you know, you have to adjust because it's different than, you know, having a smaller guard on you. And so there's some things that you have to do different. But, yeah, for me, it was just staying in attack mode and always being aggressive.
Yeah, right here. Bowen, just if you continue to follow on that line, what kind of challenges, unique challenges, does being guarded by Leons present you, and how does it change your attack?
Yeah, I would say, you know, I don't necessarily think of the things that I can't do, but when I see that matchup, I think of the things that I can do. So using my speed, being low, like things like that was kind of what was going through my mind, you know, through that process of kind of having some different defenders on me throughout the game. You know, but again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, like, yeah, it's always an aggressive like mindset. Like, you know, now what can I exploit? What can I do to help, you know, get my team points?
On the right-hand side, gentlemen, right here.
Question for both Coach and Bowen. You know, Michael gets 4 fouls pretty early into the second half. You guys are struggling to get the offense going a little bit. What is kind of your message to the team at that time? And then, Bowen, what is your thought process as you start to heat up during that second half?
Bowen, you're first, please.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, it's a good feeling, and also having a stretch there, at, you know, later in the regular season where I wasn't shooting it as great. You know, I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and so you always want to have good games, and you know, so it is good to have games where, yeah, you feel like you kind of got it going, and you know, but ultimately it was just, yeah, trying to will, you know, these guys and this group. You know, they're such a great group, and so that was what was in my head the entire time. Like, let's find a way to get a stop and get a score, and like, you know, it was always about, you know, finding a way to win.
You know, we've had, and that was, you know, Mike's had such a great year, you know, freshman or not a freshman, just a tremendous year. And yesterday, obviously, for his first game down here, had a heck of a game. And so his foul trouble was challenging for us, just because he's played so well. And he's coming off a game yesterday where he was terrific. And so that was challenging. And you know, in a game like this where a lot of things are going to happen around the rim, whether it's rebounding or plays that need to be made, he's a guy that can do that for us. So that made it a little more challenging for us. Now this group's done a good job, you know, whether it's Mike or Titan or Bo or really anybody. They've done a good job of you know, figuring out ways to play without somebody, you know, due to some foul trouble. So they, you know, did it again today without Mike, and but they've done that throughout the year.
Hey, this one's for the players. You guys had 5 guys that are technically sophomores or younger get over 20 minutes in this game, leaning it close to the #1 seed. What will it take for next year for you guys to have this be a consistent style of play for UNI and not be just a young team that can play on every other night or just on an inconsistent basis?
Titan, you're first, please, then Bowen.
Yeah, that just comes with the offseason, really. We just have to look at the things that we didn't do well during the season or things that we did do well, and we just have to really lock in and get to work.
Yeah, I think, you know, in terms of our group and our youth, you know, that was something that I think, you know, we kind of struggled with, you know, throughout the year just from experience because you haven't been there before. And so, you know, I think, you know, this tournament was a great example of how good this group can be because, you know, like yesterday, Mike has a great game, you know, and I've been in that situation where you're a freshman, it's your first time down here, huge arena, like, you know, there's all the atmosphere and everything about this tournament. You know, it's hard to come in here as a first year guy and play good. And so, yeah, just you know, to build on that and to build on what we have built, you know, throughout this season, you know, I couldn't be more excited because, yeah, these guys have fought and have worked so hard, you know, the entire year. And so, yeah, now it's how can we build? How can we take that next step to not be close in some games, but to win some games? And so that's going to be huge for us, like Titan mentioned in the offseason.
Back right here.
Coach, while we're talking about the youth, you know, Trey Campbell led you guys in minutes tonight. I think he had a significant role yesterday as well. He doesn't put up as many points in these games, but is clearly a contributor all over the court, wasn't afraid to make plays today. Can you just talk about what you've seen from him in his first two, postseason games?
Yeah, yesterday in the first half, he makes a three within a possession or two, drives it in transition, gets himself into the middle of the lane, takes some contact, turns, puts it in, and that's much more. His personality is such that he doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve, so you maybe don't. You just don't notice him as much. But he's had such a good year. We've talked about the, without Austin, without Nate, we're a pretty experienced group if those two guys are playing. Without the two of them, it put more on Titan, it put more on Bowen in terms of the leadership, in terms of the everyday stuff. But it also puts more on a guy like Trey. As a freshman who handles the ball a lot, we needed him to do so much for us as a true freshman. If Nate and Austin are in the lineup, he doesn't have as much responsibility. So to have all of that and to have the year that he had, he just does it in a different. He's pretty quiet about it. He is, and that's his personality. Now, what we can tell you is he's ultra competitive, right? And he's got a lot of confidence. He just does it in a quieter way.
Anything else for the Panthers of UNI? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck.
Thanks.